The ultimate goal seems to be to create garments or combat ensembles that are highly functional, super comfortable, and ultimately last.
Hey guys, Samps and Cookie here from LE Gear and Australian Defence Apparel. We're introducing to you the UF Pro tactical apparel brand. Basically has a huge pedigree in Europe through special forces, police tactical groups and counter-terror units. In terms of the build, the construction and the, the functionality of it, it's just next level. Cookie, what's your thoughts on some of the, some of the actual apparel itself?
I mean, right from the moment we looked at UF Pro as a brand, I was super impressed with, I guess, everything to do with them. Everything they put on a garment is there for a reason. Nothing's there just because. It's all got a functional reason. It's got operational validation behind it. It serves a purpose.
Tactical application is there with this.
Exactly, yeah, and everything they do is done with the operator in mind, and the ultimate goal seems to be to create garments or combat ensembles that are highly functional, super comfortable, and ultimately last, right? Because that's obviously an issue you have with a lot of operational uniform. The features are super smart, everything from internal shoulder padding for when you're wearing plate carriers all day, every day, to avoid that chafe and that rub. Venting under the arms through here as well, great on days like today where it's like 34 degrees and 1000% humidity. The pants themselves, you may have noticed all the zipping through here. Looks like we've got our flies undone, but in reality this is intentional. It's part of their hot weather system. Actually allows air to travel down and through and keep your body temperature low.
Especially if you're in a vehicle, but even standing here now, I'm getting that airflow. It's amazing.
And from the ground up, right? Like literally every feature about these garments is there for a reason, like I said at the start, like right from your boot hooks. So if you take a look down on the end of your pants there's a boot hook there that you can actually hook under your laces to stop the pants riding up. So if you are moving through the scrub or, sort of a swampy area and you want to try and keep like dust and bugs and everything else out of your socks and your boots, that's there.
And it's not just a boot hook either, right? You got a boot hook which hooks onto either the actual lateral part of your shoelace, or you've actually got a loop that you can thread your shoelace through, and when you tie your boot off, it locks off.
So if you look at the sort of the bicep pocket that you see on most combat ensembles, right? Like they're all set up here and they all sort of open with a Velcro closure and they go sort of vertically like that. UF Pro's taken a slightly different tact with theirs and they've made them a zipper closure and also sort of vertical zip with horizontal access, right? Which is a much more natural way for you to reach into your pocket.
You're not coming in like this, are you, right?
Yeah, exactly. And then also they realised that, when you start adding zips to clothing, it can become problematic because I'm sure you've seen this, right? Like when you try to do something up, you can't get enough purchase and the zip's not moving. It can be really frustrating and obviously time consuming. And when you're in operations, that's not what you want. So they've added this little feature here, which is a bite tab. You literally throw that in your mouth, gives you enough purchase to then actually operate the zip. So like this.
Yeah. Just little sublime additional thoughts.
Little one percenters that most other brands that you see out there in the sort of tactical world don't really think about.
Yeah, well, while we're talking about zips, and I do like these zipper pulls. There's nothing worse than there's all different designs around. There's nothing worse than getting a system where you actually can't, especially gloves, right? Gloves are the dexterity killers. So having that aspect where you can get in on it. Once again, you've got MOLLE feature on your forearms, for various application, whether it's med. There's a lot of technology now that's actually fitting to uniform, and that's going to increase operationally.
Yeah, not to mention cheat sheets, nav data sheets, etc. Like you can mount anything you want there. Obviously I've got my sleeves rolled up because I'm 5 foot nothing and I've got short arms, but for most normal humans, great feature. Yeah,
it's just next level in terms of comfort. And even though I'm as flexible as porcelain these days, the last thing I need, having lost so much flexibility, is a garment that restricts me even further than my own anatomy.
Yeah, or that wears out in key points of movement on the pants, for example, right? Like, so we all know that the crotch is a common point of failure. They've reinforced that. They've used stretch materials through there, so that kind of mitigates that as a failure point. Same with the arms, right? Like this is a point of flexion where you move. That material's got a lot more give, a lot more stretch, and obviously venting that we've talked about before. But yeah, they've taken into account all the problems that you see or that we've run into over years and years and years in the tactical apparel industry or the tactical equipment industry. And they've done their best to mitigate those and come up with products that are honestly, like in my humble opinion, super impressive.
Yeah, I mean, you get some guys going, man, it's too busy, when you got heaps of pockets, but like they're not really, so overt where you look like you're walking around like, Tactical Joe with, pockets everywhere. Yeah. They're quite sublime. If you need them, they're there. And, basically, if you don't need them, then, you don't have to put something in it.
Yeah, the terminology for this particular colour scheme is brown-grey. Yeah. So, it's essentially, it's a Ranger green. Yeah. In terms of their FR offering, it's the one colour they actually keep on the shelf in their FR range. Other colours are available, as a bespoke order. Obviously, there's MOQs to be factored in there, but everything's within the realm of possibility with them. And they actually use a really innovative FR technology. So
yeah, it's like a dual layer.
Yeah, correct. So I mean, a lot of FR ensembles will use like an inherently FR yarn and a material.
Yeah, and it's treated, and it's got a limited shelf life, right?
Correct.
How many washes you put it through?
Yeah, and there's a lot of inherent issues that they have with inherent FR fabrics. One of them, like you said, is color fading. They tend to fade relatively quickly. They tend to burn out relatively quickly
and they wash out.
Wear and abrasion. Yeah. And so you tend to sort of get a relatively short shelf life on those. Whereas with UF Pro's technology, they call it Pyro Shell. And with that layering, they can actually use any base material. So they can make a combat ensemble for you in any cam pattern, any color, any material that you want. And then they use their Pyro Shell technology to give it this FR property. UF Pro's range isn't just combat shirts and combat pants. They do everything from extreme cold weather jackets to wet weather. Their wet weather gear is actually incredibly impressive as well, like super innovative.
The monsoon range in there.
Yeah, correct. The wet weather's good, cold weather's great, and then they also do everything from accessories. So you've got boonie hats, baseball caps, polos, like dress sort of spec down versions of these, the P40 pant, which is super popular in Europe. So they cover the whole spectrum, but they do certain things really, really well, which is the higher end sort of thing.
Yeah, absolutely.